If you clicked on this video, then there's a very good chance that you are trying to find the best way to pay off your debt fast, where you're going to get what you're looking for, because I'm going to talk about some of the best strategies and practical tips to help you to get out of debt fast so that you can experience financial freedom and peace in your life. So let's get right into it. Welcome to the Journey of Finance. My name is Cedric, and today we're going to discuss one of the biggest weights on most American shoulders when it comes to finances, and that's debt. The total US consumer debt at the end of 2021 clocked in at $15.6 trillion. Trillion, not billion, trillion. I don't even know how many zeros that is. Now, the majority of that debt does include mortgages, but the other major contributors are student loans, auto loans, credit card debt, and other forms of debt. Millions of Americans are slowly drowning in a sea of debt without a potential end in sight. And that might even be you. But I really want to offer a bit of guidance as to some practical ways that will absolutely help you to face your debt and tackle it head on so that you can have a peace of mind. For most situations, I'm not going to include your home mortgage as part of the debt that you have to pay off early. And the reason for this is that your home or residence is an asset, which means it's something that you own that holds value, and in the case of homes, at least in the long term, increases in value over time. So I don't think that most people should focus their energy on trying to pay off their home mortgage super early, as there's an opportunity cost of not putting your money into other assets. In this video, I'm gonna talk briefly about why you should pay off your debt fast, go over some beneficial debt repayment strategies, and lastly, give you some tips and ideas on how to pay off your debt even faster. So with that said, let's go over 2 effective debt repaying strategies. So the first debt repayment strategy, the debt snowball method, was popularized by Dave Ramsey and is a super easy concept to grasp. Simply list out all of your debts in order, with the smallest balance first and the largest balance last. This will be the order in which you'll begin to pay off your debt. What you're gonna do is start making bigger payments on the smallest balance debt first, while maintaining your minimum payments for the rest of your debts. Remember that you have to continue making payments on your other debts. But the idea is that if you make extra payments on the smallest balance first, you'll be able to pay off that balance sooner. Once you pay that debt off, you get a nice psychological win because you conquered one of your debts. Now, this is only the beginning, because you're gonna want to gain more momentum so that the snowball can grow. So now you're going to take the amount that you were putting towards the balance you just paid off and add that to the next debt balance on the list. Remember to also add the minimum payment amount to this payment as well. Now you're making bigger payments on the next debt until that debt gets paid off. Another win. Now do the same thing and take the payment amount from the previously paid off loan plus the minimum payment of the next loan and start paying that off. And now you have a huge snowball effect happening. What you'll find with this method is that the speed in which you'll be able to pay off your debts will speed up over time, because you've got the momentum of the extra payments coming into place sooner. The reason why this method is so effective is because you get to see your debt payoff progress sooner, which can keep you motivated to keep going. But if you want to use a method that makes the most financial sense and ensures that you pay less interest over time, then the avalanche method will be right for you. Now, the avalanche method, which funny enough is another snow-related analogy, is a strategy where you list out all of your debts in order, with the highest interest rate debt first to the lowest. So it doesn't matter if your debt with the highest interest rate has the largest balance, you list it first. The way in which you make payments on this method is more or less the same as the previous method, in that you make big payments to the debt on the top of your list while maintaining minimum payments for the rest of your debts. Once you pay off the highest interest rate debt first, then you take that payment plus the minimum payment of the next debt and start paying down the second highest interest rate loan next. Do this until you pay off all of your loans and you save the most money in the long run, since high interest rates on consumer debt takes so much out of your pocket. I think the approach you should choose should best fit your personality and whether you can be driven by pure discipline or if you need more positive reinforcement to keep you going. If you're the type of person that might get discouraged if you don't see tons of progress, or you don't have the discipline needed to make payments without seeing your loans paid off sooner than later, then I'd recommend the debt snowball method. But if you're more concerned about paying less on your debt overall, and you can be disciplined in paying down your high interest rate debt first, no matter how long it takes, then definitely go with the avalanche method. Here's a very important power tip for you. For paying down loans such as student loans and auto loans, where the repayment plan is already mapped out over a period of 3, 5, or 10 years, you'll need to make sure that you intentionally pay down the principal balance, which is the original loan balance, not including the interest. For example, if you have a 36-month auto loan where your payment is spread out over those 36 months, then all of your interest is already built into each payment. Each payment will have a mix of your principal plus interest. The earlier payments you'll make will consist mostly of interest and little principal. So how do you get around that? You'll need to make your minimum required payment for your loan that month, which will include the principal plus interest. Then you can apply another payment to the loan and state that you want it to be applied to the principal balance of the loan only. This is important because if you don't state this, then the loan provider may apply the payments to the principal and interest because that's how they make their money. Making these extra payments towards the principal balance will lower the overall balance, which will also lower the interest you will pay over time on the loan. Keep in mind that different loan providers may treat this differently, so double check with your creditor about how they handle extra payments towards the principal for your particular loan. Now that you have 2 great debt repayment strategies to choose from, here's some extra tips that will supercharge your debt repayment even more. Since you want to be consumer debt free, then create a budget to help you with your debt repayment. I'd suggest lowering your expenses as much as possible by cutting out the things that you don't need, like eating out every day, spending $15 per meal, or buying all of those overpriced drinks at the bar. Instead, purposefully cut back on those expenses that add up over time, which will give you more disposable income to put towards your debt. Use a budgeting app like Mint.com, or the pen and paper or spreadsheet works too. Your sole focus is to get out of debt as fast as you can, which is going to require sacrifice on your part. It's only temporary, but it will be totally worth it when you're debt free. You'll be surprised at the things lying around your house that you could sell that could potentially help you to get out of debt faster. You might have hundreds or even thousands of dollars worth of clothes, electronics, musical instruments, appliances, you name it, that you could collectively sell and put all of that towards your debt. Remember, once you are in a much better financial situation, you can certainly buy those things again in the future. Only if you need it though, of course. For some people, it may be easier to reallocate a big portion of their income towards an aggressive debt repayment strategy without much of a dent to their lifestyle. But then there may be others who are drowning in debt, but also live paycheck to paycheck, even after cutting back as many expenses as possible. There's absolutely no judgment for those who are in that situation whatsoever. In fact, I know it's extremely difficult. But I will say this, at that point, you may have to find a way to increase your income, whether through a side hustle or part-time job, or even working overtime at work. That is, if it's possible for you, considering your situation. If you have room to do it, then you gotta do what you gotta do to get out of this debt because it's the only way out. I know that being weighed down in debt is hard. I mean, really, really hard. I just want to encourage you to stay optimistic because for most situations, even the really bad ones, can have a solution. You just have to stay positive, think creatively, and educate yourself on what you can do to get out of debt. Easier said than done, but I certainly believe you can do it. This road to achieving financial independence is not an easy one, but it's one that is possible for you to achieve, especially if you can get rid of your debt so that you can really focus on what really matters, and that's growing your wealth. The beautiful thing about developing the discipline you gain from paying down your debt much faster by making big payments is that you can apply that same discipline to investing that money and paying yourself first and not anyone else. Just as the debt snowball gains momentum in paying down debt, the wealth snowball also occurs when you invest in good investments and give it time to grow, eventually snowballing your wealth, creating an avalanche of abundance in your life. Just follow the steps outlined in this video as a guide and you'll be on your way to being debt-free. Hit that like button if you found value in this video and share it with other people you care about as it may be life-changing for them. Subscribe for more awesome content and I'll see you soon. Peace.